History is rhyming like a motherfucker. Good evening, party people. It's your girl Yael, aka Bluebell, and this is your news with a view. Tonight we have a special report as we talk about the untouchable legacy of Donald J. Trump. The shit show impeachment trial of the century concluded today when the Senate voted to acquit Donald J. Trump. I'd say I'm surprised, but honestly, that's exactly what happened the first time. The acquittal came as Republican senators refused to break with the real party line, citing they feared that the impeachment of Trump was actually unconstitutional because he no longer held office. While it's a stretch and a half to call it unconstitutional, absolutely nothing wrong with trying him after he left office simply because he's still considered a public official. The ex-president's club. Move didn't come as a surprise after Senate Minority Leader Mitch the Bitch McConnell announced that he would vote to acquit today anyway. He uses this term very often, but Mitch is a piece of shit. Democrats aren't quite all the way down, with Democratic Senator Chuck Schumer saying they'll try again, this time under Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. This section of the Constitution was intended to keep Confederate officers who had fought in the Civil War from running for office again. But the only problem with it is, it still requires a 2/3 vote in the House and the Senate in order to pass. At this point, I can't tell if the Democrats are being stubbornly hopeful or obstinately stupid. Mark Twain famously said that history doesn't repeat, but it sure does rhyme. I, for one, have fought all of the depictions of Trump as Hitler because he lacks the charisma and constancy in character that made Hitler who he was. The grip that he has on the party, coupled with the Republican fear of loss of power, this latest move has allowed them to sidestep a very important issue, putting the very liberties that they fear losing in jeopardy. I've said it before. You don't galvanize an entire population of disenfranchised people and expect them to suddenly disappear. If we thought the last few elections were bad, the next few aren't going to have shit on what we just saw. Given some of the risky promises that President Biden has already made, along with bold sweeping actions that in theory make sense, but will never pass in Congress, unless the Democrats are going to be willing to fight a little bit dirtier than they have been in the past. And judging by this week's turn of events, their reach just isn't long enough. What this vote did was create a comeback win inside of Donald Trump's arc of storytelling, in the mind of his supporters. This proves just how invincible he was and how right they were to join in that insurrection that took place on January 6th. The thing is, this is exactly what happened with Hitler prior to him ascending to power as well too. He too went on trial for the bold sweeping statements that he made about his opposing party, painting himself as a revolutionary hero but simultaneously sidestepping any blame for any actions that were taken out in his name, sounding exactly like what we're seeing now. So while I still think that there could be someone worse than this on the way out, history's rhyme scheme is pointing to a Trump 2024 run. And given the statement that he made right afterwards, I don't think he's going to let a small thing like age stop him from making that run. The thing that concerns me most is if history is rhyming, then Trump might be Hitler adjacent. Who are his supporters going to treat the way that they did the Jews in Germany? Judging from the videos that I saw on Parler about what was taking place during the insurrection, Trump has quite the rainbow coalition of supporters behind him, with everybody from Black, Latino, Hispanic, gay, straight, everyone. However, the way he keeps throwing Antifa under the bus for everything that goes wrong, Cesar being an anti-fascist might just land you in jail in a few years from now. Social media quickly being used as a tool to identify those who seem like they lean in that direction. There's a big storm coming. But if that Reddit movement against Wall Street taught me anything, there's still hope for us yet. I don't know about y'all, but I'm hella glad that millennials and Generation Z have been exposed to dystopian fiction so that we could be prepared for this shit.